Hello, this is Insane Monster doing the next part of What If Asta was the Avatar. Now, this is the last What If that won the group of polls that was posted on the community tab. After this, it will be the next three What Ifs will be the uh, of the choosing of the What If Lotto winner. If you aren't If you haven't seen it, please go check on the community tab and see for yourself. As for the latest poll I posted, it seems to be a bit of a landslide, and all what ifs that have a single part, meaning they only have one part to them so far, will be giving a second part. This means that the polls as well as the What If Lotto will be temporarily put on hold until further notice. But thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy and hit it.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? This is just for us now.
Alright, now when we last left off, Asta and the others were just going back to the hideout after that whole mess with the Eye of the Midnight Sun attacking the capital. So when they got there, Yami was laughing and told everybody about Asta having multiple past lives, and also that he's technically half spirit, which then he ended up being swarmed by the Black Bulls with all kinds of questions, except for people like Ghost, who just went off not being interested since it didn't consider his sister. And as for the other Black Bulls, some of them asked about the Asta being half spirit, which Asta just kind of nervously replied with, "Well, I mean, my soul is. The way I know it is that my soul is technically human. It's just that my soul is actually bonded together with a spirit, so it ends up reincarnating once I die. That's the way I know it." Then the Wells states that yes, and apparently in your last life you were a very tan and very fit, muscular even woman. With Earl saying, "Oh, are you serious? Are you serious?" As he just can't wrap his head around this, with Asta being a woman, a attractive, tanned woman in his past life, though he can understand that she was muscular. But he doesn't know how to take this whole past life thing of being countless women as well as countless men in his past lives, and just can't take it. With Magna asking, "So hang on, what kind of things did you do in your past life?" Which Yami chimed in and stated that in one of his past lives, apparently when he was a woman in that one, he split or she split apart a chunk of land using his slash her power to separate it from the mainland and turned it into an island. With Magna just stating, "Are you serious? That's awesome!" With uh with Luck being pumped up at telling Asta to fight him, especially to use that glowing eye thing he remembered from the dungeon. But Asta just told him he can't really control it. "I can't really control it. It's just that it happened when I was angry and I can't control it properly." With and Magna chimed in saying, "Huh, so you can only activate it now when you're pushed to it, like pushed to really, really bad anger or something like that?" Asta confirms what he just said, saying, "Yeah, pretty much." with Vanessa chiming in, so, how did you look like as a woman, as women in your past lives? Vanessa saying, um, he doesn't know what to say because this is a weird question and he's been getting questioned by everybody in all kinds of directions. And this one is by far the weirdest one he has to answer. And so he just gets up and walks away, saying, okay, I've had enough. I'm going to bed. Some time passes, and Finral is thinking about who to bring for the mixture, and ends up bringing Luck and Asta along. Like in canon, once they get there, they introduce themselves and such, and things go pretty smoothly. Well, in some aspects, with Asta and Rebecca still talking about their families, her actual family and Asta's orphanage family. And of course the drunk guy tries to and goes ahead and harasses Vanessa, though this time around Asta grabs his arm and gets him off of her, using airbending to swirl him around inside of like a airbending ball and gently letting him drop to the floor, which instantly he got up and ran outside to vomit out his organs. But once that happened, the manager yelled out, "Hey, that guy didn't pay! You do!" Which caused sorry about that, which caused Rebecca and uh, Asta to run out of there, which they just started laughing. Rebecca did ask if he had anybody special. He said, not in particular, really. I have a lot of people I can trust and people that I know have my back. But, in the way you're asking, not really. At the moment, I think. Which he smiles, with Noelle just kind of blushing right around the corner, spying on them, obviously. After that, the similar thing happens as in canon where he goes back to visit Vanessa while Ghost goes off to shop for his sister Marie. Asta hangs out with Rebecca and her siblings, showing off his water bending with the drinks, with multiple colored drinks in a similar party trick that Aang did at the Earth Kingdom capital's high society party, with Rebecca asking, "Wait, I thought you used wind magic?" Asa just scratched his head, saying, "No, I don't actually use magic. I can't actually make constructs like magic. I can just use elements that already exist around me and manipulate those. That's what I can do." He finds it pretty interesting and doesn't know what exactly it is. Though one of her siblings asks, "Wait, then if it isn't magic, what is it?" Asta looks at him and says, "Well, it's called bending. I bend elements." With him being all starry eyed, looking at Asta, thinking he's pretty cool. Then, as they go out and walk around, Asta still meets Marie and plays with her along with Rebecca's siblings. Of course, when Ghost shows up, Asta senses it through his seismic sense through his feet that Ghost is there and he's getting pretty angry. So he moves out of the way before he goes to stomp on him, remarking that he's very pissed about him getting getting anywhere near Marie, which Marie still yells at him to the point where you just see him turn to stone and get depressed. They go back to eating, and they just talk with Rebecca's kid siblings, remarking that she should be with Asta, causing her to blush, and Noelle, who's there spying on them, to end up with her magic, causing the water to just shoot out of everybody's cups. Asta ends up spending the night there, sleeping in the guest room. He finds it hard to sleep because he's sensing odd, something weird, a lot of small footprints. Though since he's asleep, he doesn't really pick up on what it is, but he can. It makes it harder for him to sleep now. But he wakes up when he senses with his seismic sense that someone's entered his room. When he takes a look, he's met with a mirror to the face shooting a laser, which he dodges out of the way and ends up outside being attacked, with Rebecca and the other parents and such all coming out remarking that their kids are gone, with Ghost repeatedly firing at Asta. Asta tries to calm him down to look around them, stating that it's snowing when it really isn't the season for it, which he's not paying attention. So Asta stomps on the ground, earth bending a pillar underneath one of his feet to force him to fall on his ass. Which then the sister there that used to teach Flagoleon to tell him to stop it and to pay attention that all the kids, including Marie, are gone. Asta went back inside to grab his, basically his glider that he crafted with Aang's guidance, and said that they should hurry up and get going. He stomps on the ground, sensing a bit of a presence of a large group out in the direction, out pointing in that into a direction where the kids went. The nun asked, what did he do to figure that out? He just says that he can sense vibrations throughout the ground, which is why he goes around barefoot. But Ghost remarks that the direction Asta pointed in is the same direction that he can sense the magic mirror he gave his sister is coming from. So he hurries up and flies that way on his broom. The nun grabs on to her broom and goes after him, but Asta using airbending and the glider to follow them. The nun remarks that that's an odd way of flying. Asta just states, well, I just controlled the wind to push up into the glider so I can fly. And plus, it feels pretty great flying like this. His sister doesn't ask what do you mean by bending? He just says, I bend already existing elements. And honestly, it's getting kind of old explaining this to everybody. Though I guess it's natural since it seems kind of weird. Once they get there, they see Marco, Rebecca's younger brother, which Asta hurries up and gets down there to check on him, using his Demon Slayer sword to knock on the side of his head to release the spell on him. Once they calm him down, though Ghost has already gone into the cave, he gives him his magic knight's robe, telling him to keep warm and to be brave. Before they got into the cave, Asta stomps on the ground again to get a sense of the cave's layout as well as where the kids are. He tells the sister that he found out where they are. It seems like Ghost is already there. He makes a platform of earth and hurries up and rides it, with the sister riding her broom following him, remarking that, "So air and earth? Interesting. What else do you got?" So just remarks, "I can bend water and I can produce fire to bend, though fire bending isn't as extensive or as versatile as actual fire magic. I can't keep stuff from burning like Captain Flagoyon can with my fire." As they get there, they see Ghost fighting the snow mage and hurrying up to grab Marie to get out of there. Once the mud mage that's been taking these kids' magic takes a look at Asta, he can tell that he has no magic and just laughs at him. Though this is instantly silenced when Asta uses airbending to go quickly towards him, slamming him with the anti-magic sword, sending him straight into the wall. The mage hurries up and makes a mud man to try to get help. It goes away without them seeing it. Also, the seismic sense isn't very helpful because he's just filled with rage for what he's been doing to these kids. Taking some of the leftover snow from the snow mage, he bends it into water, covering up the guy and freezing it into ice, which surprises the nun, stating that he should hurry up and do the same thing to the other kids that he did to Marco outside the cave. He hurries up and does that. As the nun hurries and makes the fire leopard to get the kids out, Ghost comes back and Sally also pops in. With Ghost firing his beams at Sally, it's real evident that they ain't working since the lights being distorted around her inside the sticky salamander and going every other way except the way he wants. Asta hurries up and uses his fire bending to blast the salamander, which she ends up ejecting herself from, ultimately going to the mage, the mud mage, and stabbing him in the neck with the dark magic item, causing him to turn into a giant mud monster. Asta hurries up and uses his bending to separate the water and the earth that makes mud what it is to completely dry out its arm, though it instantly breaks apart and regrows a new one. Asta continuously does this with all of its limbs and as much of its body as he can, though even after taking apart a good chunk of its body, it's still regenerating more and more mud. So it isn't really going that good with the bending, and when he tries to use his anti-magic sword, it's still the same result. Even using both of his swords, the mud just keeps regenerating. With the ghost attacking more and more, trying to destroy this mud monster, he says he's going to do this all on his own, with Asta obviously smacking some sense into him, giving him the same speech as in canon. Which then Ghost uses his magic item Eye to create multiple copies of Asta. Half of them use the Demon Slayer and Destroyer swords to the slice up the Mudman, along with half of them using the bending to separate the water and the earth, causing it to dry up and crumble away, destroying the monster. With Sally being bummed out that her experiment didn't finish them off, she goes ahead and goes straight for Asta to attack again. He notices this and goes straight into the ground using earth bending. Basically swimming through the earth, he pops up from behind her while still in the salamander, cutting through when she wasn't looking, destroying her spell, then using airbending to blast her straight to the ground. He's a good bit injured, and once they try to take her in, they're met with a bright light. They're not sure what's going on or what's going to happen, but instantly they end up being skewered by blades of light, the nun most of all being injured, with Asta getting it in the leg and the shoulder. But before he falls back on the ground, he hurries up and slams his uninjured leg in with his foot onto the ground to create an earth wall to block it any more attacks. With them realizing they're in big trouble, and the light maids being pissed that they hurt Sally, as well as that Asta has those swords, saying that they don't belong to a filthy human like him. But then obviously Finro and Yami come into the picture as Lick's attack to destroy the earth barrier succeeds. They're met with Yami and Finro, which Finro takes the nun and goes, who's low on magic, to go get healed up and such, with Yami stating to come back here when he's done or else, which Finro is not happy with. Like in canon, Yami attacks, is defending from Lick's attacks, and when it went towards Asta, he broke it, but Asta saying thanks. Yami states that you're normally not that oblivious to an attack. Asta states, well, it's not like I can sense light magic soaring through the air, because since none of his body movements give his target away. Which Yami then explains about Ki, telling him how useful it can be. Also giving him the orders to take care of the Scarecrow Spatial Mage guy, which he does do. After, when the fight begins between them, as the fight between Yami and Lick goes as it does in canon, he tries using Ki and is successful, blocking off a good bit of the attacks coming towards him with the Demon Slayer and Demon Dweller swords, while getting other attacks that he can't get with the swords, blocking them with pillars of earth, using earth bending to block them. Though realizing that doing this way isn't going to get him anywheres. So he throws away the swords, with the Spatial Maids remarking that that was pretty foolish of him. And as he goes and opens a portal again, Asta uses his earthbending to make a pillar to send him flying through his portal, where he uses airbending to blast him straight into a wall. which Licht is then pretty pissed about and uses a light whip to attack all over to bring the cave down on top of them. Asta was able to get his swords and get near Yami, where he used his earth bending to stop the rocks from crushing them. At this moment, Licht thinks that he got rid of them. So, Asta opens up a little area to see where Licht is, and then earthbend the rocks above them straight towards Licht. He uses some light teleportation magic to move, dodge them, seeing not gonna go down that easily, huh? As the fight begins again, and as in canon, Yami does injure him again. Though, as in also, he does end up using the same light magic again to try to obliterate them, where Finral and Ghost come into the picture again. And once the magic is fired, Ghost uses his magic to reflect his attack again. The damage he sustained from Yami wasn't that severe, but he did get pretty hurt from his own magic being reflected by Ghost's mirror. And this is where we end up with the third eye members coming into the picture, attacking Yami. Also tries to help him out using his bending. When the salamander fire spirit blasted at him, Asta used his firebending to redirect the flames away from them. To the surprise of Fauna, thinking that he shouldn't be able to manipulate Salamander's flames away from him. Never seen that. Then we have the copy mates that got a copy of Yami's dark sword going after him along with Veto, which Asta used his earth bending to slam a earth pillar from the ground straight into Veto's gut, sending him flying, but landing on his feet, remarking, "What the hell? He manipulated Fauna's flames and caused an earth pillar to slam me in the gut. The hell kind of power is that?" So Yami's sword doesn't get snapped like it does in canon. Though Asta's still having trouble keeping up with the 2-on-3 and them striking and then backing off for another one to attack. Though they're also surprised when Asta also uses air to blow away the copy mates that went after him, but was surprised to have a giant gust of wind from Asta thrusting his palm towards him to blow him away. Which the third eye then stands back with Raya, the copy mage, asking, "You're not a normal kid. So far it looks like you've used 3 elements. I wonder, are there any more?" As this to where Asta tried to use some of the snow that fell from that was on top of the, I guess, hill that the cave was in, from the snow that was on top of it, melting it, trying to freeze them from below, but they were able to get out with much trouble, with them saying, "Huh, water too, all for the prime element. You're not a normal kid, are you?" With Beto stating, "Yes, are we sure this one is actually human? I wonder, should he die?" Though, either way, I would prefer it if we took those swords away from him. With Bana just saying that she hates them for what they did to Lick. Lick chimed in, stating, "It does seem like he isn't quite human." Then Yami decided to open his big mouth, laughing, stating that, "Well, you're not quite wrong there. I suppose you could say he's only half human." With them just having a weird face, thinking, "The hell does that mean?" Asta gets near Yami, stating, "Yami, these guys, something's off with them." Yami looks at him while the third eye is hesitant to come at somebody who has the power of the four prime elements under his control. So Asta was able to explain that it's like these guys have two different spirits inside of them. One, I'm guessing, belongs to the actual body, and the other, I don't know, is like it's something separate that's inside of them. Leto hears this and goes straight for Asta before he says any more, trying to silence him. Asta was able to use airbending to blow himself back to get some distance. And this is where the other three captains, Charlotte from the Blue Roaches, Nozel from the Silver Eagles, and Jack from the Praying Mantises, come in and start attacking, causing all kinds of havoc. Which Yami is glad to get a bit of a break since all this crap has been annoying and exhausting for him, though still wanting to obviously pass his limits. Which he then asks Finral as in canon to make a portal for him. Obviously, he goes directly for Lick from up top, but also as in canon, we get Asta going after him too, though with a bit of a boost using firebending out of his feet to propel him more, hitting Lick directly, with followed up by Yami doing his typical slash right down onto him. Then we see that he's about to frickin' explode from magical power, that the third eye ended up backing off from their combat with the other three Magic Knight captains to seal the power away and use spatial magic to get out of there. Asta wasn't as badly injured, but he was still pretty injured. But now that they had a time to breathe, he used some of the snow to melt it into water and used the water bending healing technique thing to patch up his stab wounds that Lick gave him. But Yami saying, "Hey kid, why don't you patch yourself up? Come do it to me." That beast and copy guy ended up giving me a few scrapes. Plus that flame woman, that spirit magic flame woman ended up burning me a little bit. Which he just replies with, "Okay." As they get back to the village, they're thanked for all the hard work they did bringing back their kids, with Rebecca giving him a kiss on the cheek like in canon, which he's surprised by, but doesn't get to enjoy it, with Yami grabbing his head to telling him to continue explaining what he was talking about back in that cave, which catches the eye of the other captains, which he begins explaining again that it's like those bodies are actually being controlled by some kind of spirit, which he doesn't quite get what it's about, but it seems like there's two spirits in those bodies. One is a spirit that belongs to that body, obviously, but the other is almost like it's forcing the one that the that the original spirit that belongs with that body is being subdued by. So that's only with the third eye guys. That lick guy has a different feeling, kind of a balanced feeling with the two spirits. It's really weird. Which, as you may have guessed, after that whole thing with the Avatar state in the capital, where the captain saw the the Wizard King had to do some explaining when he got grilled by the other captains. He had to kind of minimize the knowledge of what he was fully, explaining that Asta is actually half spirit, which is pretty accurate given he's the Avatar. So they understand that, in some sense, that he most likely is correct, being half spirit himself, that he might be able to sense if a separate spirit is taking control of somebody's body. With Nozell chiming in, stating, "So what? So what? Those bodies are just people who are being possessed by something?" Asta just says, "Well, that's how it feels, at least for the third eye. Though it's for that lick guy, it seems like whoever body that belongs to, the spirit that's taking over them is working with it. Though I can't say for sure. As for anything else, can't really tell. If I got up and close with them to check, I could tell more, but that's probably easier said than done." Which is where we'll end this on this part as everyone goes back to their bases. So hope you enjoyed. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell for future uploads. As for the 3 what ifs that were picked by the winner of the What If Lotto, those 3 are actually going to be: what if Luffy merged with Incurcio? What if Luffy was the son of Derriere? And what if Deku had anti-venom? Those were the 3 chosen by the winner of the What If Lotto, well, the most recent one. So I do hope you'll enjoy those once they're uploaded. So hope you enjoyed, and see you later.